I'm going to show you how I go through lunging with my own horse, and hopefully you can pick up some tips and tricks. So I'll start out with using a head slip, so it's just part of a bridle essentially, with a bit attached, and then you can either thread the lunge line through the bit rings onto the separate one or come up and over the head and down the other side. It can depend on if your horse likes sort of more bit pressure or if they're reversed to having pole pressure. Usually up and over the head is my preferred method, but as I'll be changing over quite quickly today, I'm just going to leave it on the bottom ring. I've got a lunging stick with me as well, which I use as an extension of my arm, and let's get cracking. Come on. So I like to use my voice when I'm lunging as well, so it often gets forgotten as part of the aids. And I'm going to try and form a triangle, so I've got the line at the front from the bit rings and then the extension of my arm and the stick to form a triangle in the centre. Now I'm going to try and stay level with where the girth would sit in the centre, and this helps have a bit of a balance between getting the horse to slow down and getting them to speed up with either end. If you come further back from that line, generally you're going to be chasing the horse and you end up driving them forwards and away from you. And likewise, if you go too far in front, they'll stop or they turn in. So if you have quite a common problem of your horse turning in and stopping and not staying out in the circle, most of the time it's because you're actually stood too far forward and you're blocking that front door rather than being level with them at the girth line. So same as if we want him to speed up or slow down, like I said, we'd move our own body position, and we'll also use the line and the width in balance as well. So if I want him to go forward, I'm going to drop my front hand with the rope, raise one at the back, use my voice, and get him to move forward. Again, using voice as well. And then wanting them to slow down, use the voice, again, drop the lower hand at the back and come back that way. Likewise, if I want him to move in and out of the circle, give him more rope and then walk towards and make himself a bit bigger, and they'll move out on the circle. And if you want them to come in, you turn your body away slightly, start to shorten the rope, they'll come into you and you can make a shorter circle. Oh, good. I always make sure to swap the lines over. So unclip from that side, feed it through the opposite way, and make sure you do it evenly on both reins. So generally I'll count circles. So I'll maybe do 10 circles each way as a warm-up, then start using some transitions, moving them in and out of the circle, and then through my walk and my trot before moving on to some canter or faster work, and actually working them properly how I want to. So I don't just use it as an explosion of extra energy. Lunging is part of your schooling, and also if you're a physio, part of your assessment of how a horse moves at the circle, how they bend the neck, how they bend their back as well. So try again this way. So again, moving forwards, making sure I'm in the centre, raise that hand and move into a trot. And normally when they're trotting round, just sit quiet and stay in the centre, keeping balance between the two lines. If you want to push them on, again, sit behind the line a bit and push with the back hand. And then getting to slow down, just roll with that front one. It's quite frozen in here today as well, which is why I don't really want to do a lot of trotting, and he's tripping a little bit. Good boy. Out. Come on. We want us to be level with where his armpit is, so where the girth would sit if you were riding, and you want to make a triangle between yourself at the point of the triangle, the bit at one end, and then the extension of the arm what you're lunging with there to keep that triangle. And I'm always going to try and keep level with that point there. So again, if I move in front of that point, you essentially close that front door and they'll either slow down or sometimes they'll turn in, or the circle will get smaller. And if you go behind them, usually they'll either disengage or they'll speed up and you won't be able to slow them down and you'll lose a bit of control. So try and keep them there. So I'll use this sometimes to push them out as an extension, just to make him move out, and then go back into the triangle position. And if I want him to slow down and come in, just make my body a bit smaller and turn away. And your circle gets smaller and gradually will turn in and stop. So your body position probably has a lot more effect on what the horse is doing, rather than actually what you're doing with the lunge line or with your rope in the hand. So always think about that. And something else to bear in mind is that horses see us as the front end of another horse. So if you've ever seen them playing in the field, they'll usually swing their hips or rather the shoulders towards each other or away to either engage play or to tell them to go away. So it can even be, if you've got one side stronger than the other, that your hips, if they're either away or toward, are having that effect on your horse, and they're thinking you're either inviting them in or pushing them away. So try and keep your hips level, keep where that girth area is, and keep balance between your line and your stick at the other end.